When I started looking further into music, I realized that all the bands that I liked, you know, you go back to Zeppelin and the Beatles and the Stones, and you look at what they were looking back at, what influenced them, you know, and they were going back to the blues, and the blues was going back to spirituals, and the spirituals were going all the way back to the slave fields. And I'm like, what is going on? How are these things all connected?
The history of modern music is rooted in a fundamental way in the voices and the music of oppressed people. The only power the slaves had was what? Their voices and their bodies. That's all they had. So they held hands and they raised their voices in antiphonal form, call and response, which is lifting every voice, because at least at that moment you have a power and a dignity. That's where you first get those spirituals in those churches, on the creeks, in the dark, so you couldn't even see each other. But all you have is just your voices being raised, so that maybe somebody in the world now or further down the line will hear your voice and recognize you are human, you have a right to be treated a certain kind of way, and you are worthy of attention. It's an expression of a people raising their voices in catastrophic, traumatic circumstances. Slavery, Jim Crow, lynching, devaluation, degradation, subjugation, and so forth.
This mentality and communication of oppression was created after. We've got to remember that the foundation of who they were wasn't created on that plantation. The foundation of who they were was created in some tribe somewhere where they weren't necessarily under this institution of oppression. So the first call and response in many cases was the drum, was the beat. The beat that went out gave me an indication, do I need to get ready for war, get ready to celebrate, to bury somebody? The drum in many cases was the first call and response. And so the drum was the call, and the response was the activity that came about from a level of understanding of what that drum beat meant.
Blues, rhythm and blues, hip hop, jazz. The music serves as a truth teller, because you see, in the end though, brother, black music is fundamentally about unarmed truth. It's about unconventional love. It's about unadulterated justice. It's about unadorned beauty. And what is more basic in life than truth? Because truth terrifies all of us.
Absolutely.
It hurts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it also liberates.
That's why music is never absent from social movement. That's why it's never absent from oppressed people. We saw for a period of time a real call and response that was connected to social, political injustice and oppression.
Dr. King said, I'm not who I'm supposed to be until you are who you're supposed to be.
Oh, that's the blues. That's black music, right? I mean, Martin carries that, Malcolm and the others carry that in such a deep way. If you're committed to truth, committed to love, then you're committed to fairness. If you really love somebody, then you hate that they're being treated unfairly. You love your mama, you don't want nobody to treat her unjustly. You love those folk who are enslaved in Africa and Asia and Europe and America and so forth. You don't want them to be mistreated. You don't want them to be abused. So you end up fighting for justice even though you started playing your guitar.
The call and response that initially is amongst a certain group ultimately becomes a message that's taken outside of the group to others that are willing to engage in helping that group be removed from oppression. The call and response is not a one-time message. It's a repetitive message, and that repetitive message becomes a movement.
I'm stronger when you find your voice because I need your voice, and you're stronger with my voice, I need my voice, and in the end, we're still gonna die. In the end, we still might not triumph, but we're on the move.